Hey, Peter, how are you?
I'm great. Thank
Good to
you.
catch up with you virtually. I know we've done this a couple times, but we would be remiss if we did not cover off on the hot topic of the decade, which is video streaming. Certainly, I've had some time now working from home to catch up on some things that I didn't have time for before. But I'm curious, the latest Nielsen Total Audience report sort of speaks to quite a big jump from a year over year perspective. Um, and I'm curious, have we kind of reached a turning point? Is this sort of where we kind of call it, this is the new way forward?
Hey, Bill. Thanks for the question. Yeah, I mean, streaming is something that has grown in popularity year over year. In our report now, we used Q2 data, and we saw that consumers went from an average of 82 billion minutes a week of streaming to the TV set to over 142 billion. So that's a huge jump, and it's something that we saw across with all kind of in-house media since the beginning of this pandemic when we're home. People were forced home, right? So we saw a huge increase in television use. And we also saw a huge increase in time spent with those devices to streaming with streaming itself. So it's, if you think about it, it's a whole extra channel or channels, depending on how many services you subscribe to for people to get content. And it's pretty much limitless no matter who you are. And one of the trends that we saw, particularly this year versus last year, is like who is adopting this. We know the younger generations have been streaming for a while now, and we've seen that within our data. But one interesting fact is that we're comparing like this year to last year. The largest, in addition to the amount of minutes that are being done, if we distribute the minutes across different ages, we see that the 55 plus demographic now accounts for 26% of all that streaming time. So they may be late to the game, but it's definitely something, a behavior that they are adopting once they're exposed to it and they get used to it. And again, if the content that's there, it'll drive the demographics there too.
So one of the things that I did find really interesting is, and obviously, given the unprecedented times, is the importance of news, not just at the national level, but given the fact that people are spending more time at home, they're more in touch with their communities, they're spending locally, and obviously wanting to know what sort of ramifications there are from a pandemic perspective in their communities. And given what we know about digital and how people are consuming news, how important is it? And this is kind of a softball to you, but that our local news providers sort of dial into how people are actually getting their news, because it isn't just that 5 p.m. news broadcast where people are actually tuned in.
That's right. With work from home now, I mean, people's schedules have changed. So you don't necessarily have to program to them for certain times of the day when you know that they're going to be home because they're home already. So that has changed. And what work from home has done, right? It is a lot of people for that added choice of say if they want to move and take their job with them to a new location, and that definitely impacts the local environments there. Whether it's real estate, if you move and you buy a place or invest back in the local businesses, but even the consumption of local news. And when we asked like genres of the people within our survey, what they listen to or what they watch, during the day, news was that top genre. And local news was one of those that really hit the mark. I mean, if you're home, spending more time at home, I think you're going to be more tuned in to what's going on in your local area than you might be nationally, although there's a heck of a lot going on nationally right now as
No
well.
doubt.
But keeping up with local news, whether it's your town, whether it's what's going to happen with the new school season, um, keeping track of COVID counts, what's opening or closing within your neighborhoods. Local news is something that I think is really hitting home with a lot of those people impacted, I guess, from this work from home perspective, that they're home and they're able to really have like up to the minute information on what's going on.
And I'm assuming we're talking about inclusive of toilet paper and hand sanitizer promotions at the local grocery store, right?
For sure, absolutely.
Peter, it's always good to catch up. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Bill.